All right. I see a light here. I found Terron Ward. I know him at Salle. He's a businessman. He's former NFL. First of all, how are you doing, Terron?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Life's good. Uh, the pandemic and stuff hit and things got shaky for a little bit, but everything bounced back, so we're good.
Right. Well, that's it. Well, speaking about, you always bounce back. I mean, that's the story of your life. We'll go through it all, but you're 5'7". You played in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah, it's possible.
No, but that's what I like about you're humble. But I saw behind the scenes. I watched how hard you worked with Real Neal, and your dad has this thing. It's one thing to make the NFL. It's another thing to stay in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing about the NFL, man. There's always new talent coming in year out, and especially when you're a guy like me who went undrafted and kind of had to fight the way on the team. It's hard to stay in. And, I got lucky enough to be in the NFL for 3 years and played on some good teams and had some good experiences. And, I'm grateful for that for sure.
No, but as I said, we talk about like the summer camps. This will be the first summer camp since like 2014 that you or I are not at camp. You were in camp. Exactly. You were in camp 15, 16, and 17. I was there 18 and 19 with the Raiders. And I would joke with you and say, what am I doing in camp? And you and TJ aren't in camp. This makes no sense. I can't help anybody. Tell people about the business of the NFL.
You said it just like that. It's a business, man. And one of the biggest businesses is to save costs. Make more than you're spending. In NFL still you got your talent, you need your talent, but like you said, it's a business at the end of the day. They're trying to the ultimate goal is to win, but how can we get that in the most productive way, I guess, or a cost effective way? And sometimes you're on the good side of it, sometimes you're not. And like I said, everyone has an expiration date. To just be there in the first place is you're blessed, you're grateful. You want to play as long as you can, but that's just what it is.
Right. Now, speaking of business, it's on your shirt. It's on the water bottle. Hold it. Tell people what is that bear? What is there?
So this is Just2Nice. It's me and my partner's clothing brand. We kind of established this in 2011 in college while we were at Oregon State. It's athletic leisure, kind of mixed with streetwear brand. It just breeds confidence. Our mantra is live life confident. We believe, that confidence should be in every situation of life if you want to be or prevail in that, whatever you're doing, and be successful in whatever you're doing. So we try to push that to the forefront of people's brains, confidence, be confident in anything you're doing, because 9 times out of 10, if you go on something confident, you're going to come out with the result you want. No matter if it's taking a test, if it's the SAT, if it's a big game, if it's talking to the girl you like, whatever it is, you're going for a job interview. If you got to fix the light bulb in the kitchen, you know what I mean? It's just whatever you do, if you go in and knowing that you can succeed in that, whatever environment, 9 times out of 10, you're going to come out. So we try to push that into people's brain. And a lot of people are, starting to believe what we're saying, and it's a good thing to see.
No, and it goes back to Oregon State. You and Malcolm, I forgot what's Malcolm's last name.
Marble.
Marble, yeah, exactly. As you are to Antioch, he is to Pasadena. And when did it start in the dorm room? How did it all start?
Yeah, so actually, the Just2Nice, it was a nickname that Malcolm had got in high school from like 2 of his teachers or something. He wore number 2, and it was like a joke going around that he was too nice, and then someone else said he's just too nice, and he kind of took it and ran with it. And when he got to college, he kind of had it on like his backpacks or something, and then I think he was putting it on his hats. And then one day, he was like, I'm gonna make this to a clothing brand. I was like, well, I kind of like what it says and kind of the meaning behind it too. Let's do it. And it was I think it was like 4 of us at the time. It was 5 of us at the time, actually, when we all played football and we were all wearing it. We're kind of prompting it, and it became big around the city of Corvallis. And then when I got to the NFL, I just had no time on my hands, to tell you the truth. And Malcolm kind of carried it by himself for a little bit for about 3.5 years. And then when I stopped playing, I kind of got back to it, and that kind of brings us where we are today. That was about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and kind of been booming ever since.
Right. And where did the bear come from?
The bear came from someone drew it. I don't know if it was Malcolm or someone Malcolm was dealing at the time. They were kind of just doodle drawing a bear, and the dude put glasses on him and threw a Just2Nice hat on him, and the rest is history. It's pretty cool. It's kind of funny because a lot of people they always ask, why do you have a bear on it? And the answer is just like, it's just a cool bear. It really doesn't have any significance behind it of, being, I should try to show you why I say this, of being anything particular to what we are. It's just a bear with a Just2Nice hat on and some sunglasses. And if you know me, I always have sunglasses on, and Malcolm always has a hat on. So it kind of fits. It kind of end up fitting both our personalities, and now it's just Just2Nice cool bear.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. You lived a dream making the NFL, which is beating the odds, and the clothing line. How do you win at that? I mean, with the NFL, at least there's 32 teams, so you know what you have to do. This seems more confusing. I mean, how do you succeed? Yeah.
I think it's trial and error, to keep it real with you, Brian. It's trial and error. You might think something looks good, but other people think it might not. It's our perception, right? So you try to stay consistent in what you're saying to your clientele and to all the people, your consumers who buy your stuff. Consistent in your brand, consistent in what you're saying, consistent in what you're showing, your pictures, videos, and all the media stuff first. And then when they get your clothes, they kind of feel what we feel once they touch and put it on and it feels good on their skin, that they'll become repeat customers. And that's what we've been doing for, what was it, 2011, almost 10 years now.
Yeah, no, that's real neat. And I'm trying to think just where to take everything. You can go way back, because I know the Amigos, but you know the Amigos since what? You were like 8 or 9 years old? Tell people about this.
Yeah, so the Amigos, my brother went there in 2000. What do you guys are, 04? So he's there in 2000. So I guess my brother got introduced there in 2000. And at that time, I think the seniors were Matt Gutierrez, Demetrius Williams, Kevin Simon, Johnny Tucker. I think Nate was a junior. I think Reese was a sophomore. Deshaun Spencer, Damon Jenkins. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, like TK, Jackie Bates, Cam Coven. I know I'm gonna miss some people out, and I feel bad. Oh, my cousin Jake Wallace.
Jake Wall Street.
Huh?
They call him Jake Wall Street. I learned that they.
Yeah. And it's just, and it's sad to say this, but at De La Salle, there's not a lot of people who look like us. And I guess the group of guys who, they were friends, they share kind of similar backgrounds, and they're all from, kind of Black families, and they kind of bonded together, made a brotherhood that is strong to this day, that, as you can see with your interviews that you're doing with them. And it was a cool thing to see.
Very cool. And then for you, as being a young kid, what do you remember? Because you were on the sidelines as a ball boy. What do you remember seeing at that time?
Just ballers, man. It was those games were fun to go to, especially when you're a little kid. High schoolers are kind of like pros to you at that time because they're so much bigger than you. You're 8, they're 18. You know what I mean? So you kind of look up to them as like the superstars of that era. And De La Salle was kicking ass every Friday. And even the big games, when we went down to Poly, or we played Modern Day, or when Poly came here, or when we traveled to Hawaii, those big games kind of felt like, superstar games or like college games, because the atmosphere is like you're traveling, especially as a kid, you're seeing this, they're traveling, they're having meetings, they're on their own. Especially went to Hawaii, they were there for like a week. So like, it was really like, I don't know, they're there for the Pro Bowl or something, and then you go to the game and the Hawaii stadium is packed, you know what I mean? It was just cool experiences to see, especially De La Salle at that time. They're at, I don't want to say their peak, but like that was a good era of football, of a lot of good players. The competition was good, and De La Salle just dominated. It was just cool to see as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's like 2002. You would have been like 10 years old, but I meant you remember that being at Aloha Stadium your whole life. That whole trip. The year before, were you down at? You must have been down at Long Beach for the.
Yeah, I was there, but I wasn't a ball boy that year. I was just in the stands because my brother was on JV that year. So we went down and they played at
High school.
Yeah, that earlier that day, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did.
earlier that day. And then that night it was at Memorial Stadium and it was packed. And I just remember being in the stands. It was just like crazy. It was really crazy.
And then, like our friendship, it's really neat how I think did Ken Egu help us because
Yeah, he definitely bridged that gap. And that was shit. That was what, back in 2015
15 or 16. I think it was like January of 16.
Okay.
I remember it well. We came to see you at the time. You were living in San Ramon. We came to see you. I remember that night because it was right after the Super Bowl and the TJ Super Bowl.
Yeah.
TJ was getting his haircut like in your kitchen, and typical TJ. I didn't know him at the time, so he wasn't too friendly to me that night. Exactly. We'll talk about. Tell people about TJ's personality. He has to know you, correct?
He has a unique personality. I don't think he's the first one to make conversation, but once you get to know him, he's a goofball too. But he's unique. I would say that. I wouldn't say he's weird. I would say he's unique to himself. But once you get to know him,
right,
you'll love him. But he is, that first impression is always he's always a little standoffish, and I don't know why, but that's just who he is. Maybe because he's the oldest.
No, that's it. He was really not checking me out, but I mean, he just wanted to get his haircut, and I think he had like an appearance that night. But no, I just remember meeting you, and I think that helped because I knew your dad a little bit. And we would have been close. But in fact, tell people who Ken Egu is.
Ken is someone that went to Dosai with a friend of mine, played football, really fast runner, ran track. I think he's either second or third on the all-time 100 list of De La Salle. Unfortunately, he tore his Achilles our senior year at NCS. But a cool dude doing great stuff now. I think he graduated from USC now. Is he still doing animation? I know he's doing like production stuff. Is he animating still?
Exactly. Animation, video games.
Yeah, all that stuff.
So that's neat.
Very talented guy for sure.
No, but that was all. It was the speed and the football. That's what got him to college. But now, like you, he's in the business world. But that's also a neat thing. The speed, the 4x100 your senior year. I mean, that's legend. Yeah.
That was my junior year.
Your junior year.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So it was I was on first leg. I handed it off to Ken Egu, who handed it off to Chase Wheeler, who handed it off to Tyler Anderson. So that you're saying our junior year, you got a guy that coming out the blocks at 10.8, passing to a guy that ran 10.6, passed to another guy who ran 10.6, passed to a guy that ran 10.9. So like full relay team under 11 seconds. We got third at state. We broke the school record. We ran 40.85, which was to run 40.85 in high school track is amazing. It's like unheard of. And we did that and got third. So that's just tell you how that race is. But it was cool, man. What I want to say is that same year we went to New York for the indoor meet. And it's like the National Scholastic Indoor National. So it's everyone from the country comes to New York for this indoor meet, and we end up winning the 4x2. They don't have the 4x1 in indoor, so we won the 4x2 earlier that year, and then end up later that year getting third in the 4x1 and broke the school record. So it was a good season for us for sure.
No, but it all goes. That goes to Harvey and your dad. I mean, tell people. I mean, what your dad does for you and TJ and Tierra, but pretty much for all of Antioch.
I think Pops has set a good example of, and this is kind of his quotes is, putting your deposits in, keep putting deposits in, keep putting deposits in, because the day you need that money, you have to go to the bank. You say, okay, I need this out. And that kind of just says, keep working hard, keep working hard, keep working hard. When game day comes or race day comes, you're not going to think about, did I work hard enough? It's just going to be there and you're going to go. It's not going to be no questions, anything. And I think he instilled that in us from a young age, and it kind of just carried us through to where we are today.
Well, I think it started, but I think at times it was so you didn't like it. I mean, it was tough, wasn't it? I mean, the stuff that Real Neil does, he showed you the beach when you were young. You'll tell people about this, going over to San Francisco.
Yeah. So, yeah, we didn't always like it for sure. I mean, I didn't hate it as much as my brother hated it because I was younger and I just wanted to be outside and be with the fellas because it just wasn't me, TJ, and Tierra. It was always me, TJ, Tierra, Maurice, Taylor, Mike, Markel. It was always like 7, 8 of us. It wasn't just us three. So my dad would bring everyone with us and we would go. And we would just run this. There was a hill by our house. It was like a steep hill. It was probably like 200 meters uphill. We would run that. We would run around the housing development for a warm up. We would go to the track, um, run on the dirt track back in the day, like in January before. So right after football season ended and get it going into track season, we would go and condition. We would go to the beach and run the beach. So we were just doing a lot of things at a young age that just a lot of people weren't doing. And it kind of set us apart. It put us in a good position to succeed. And the proof is in the pudding and when you see how we kind of excelled in sports.
Right. No, well, 3 NFL guys were on that beach, and then
Yeah.
the other thing I was looking at, just some fun stuff I see, like, I think it's the Instagram stories and just stuff I didn't even know about, like how good you were, I think, with the Antioch Tigers. And there must have been some Pittsburgh guy 15 years later still, hates you in a sporting sense. I don't, you posted it. It was pretty funny how,
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, so actually it was a guy so back in the day, I think it was Diablo Valley Youth Football League. So it was like teams, and I'm a list of teams from Brentwood out. So it was East County, Deer Valley, Antioch Youth Football, West Pitt, Pleasant Hill Rebels, Concord Cobras, Walnut Creek Marauders, Napa Saints, Sanborn T-Birds, Sanborn Bears, Livermore, Clayton Valley, San Leandro, West County. Who else am I missing? I'm missing like two teams.
Anybody from Richmond? Anybody from Richmond or no?
No, that was like the West County area. So that was like West County. Then Oakland area was like San Leandro. And I think that's kind of it. But it was like a solid 10 to 12 teams. And it was not like it's today when you have like a little different league pockets everywhere. It was like one league and everyone played. And the guy who you seen the video he played for Deer Valley. And I actually went to middle school where we live. I went to middle school with all the people who played for Deer Valley. So it was me and my cousin Damon and our friend Keith was the only 3 players that played for Antioch that went to our school. Everyone else was Deer Valley. And, on Fridays we used to wear our Antioch jerseys to school on Jersey Day in middle school. And everybody would always like give us shit like, why y'all play for Antioch, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we would just stay we would stay true to who we were. And the week we always had to play Deer Valley, it was like, all right, this is rivalry because there was 2 teams in Antioch. And we would just whoop them every time. And it was just funny because a lot of players just go back and forth. This year I'm playing for Antioch and this year I'm playing for Deer Valley. And I just never did because I was so Antioch to my core. It was like, why would I do that? And we were winning like turkey bowls every year. Like,
right.
Couldn't be beat. And it was funny you said that because I was just putting a whooping on people back in the day. So back in the day, it was funny, Mr. Aliotti, when I was little, I used to water boy and do all the ball boy stuff for De La Salle. And every time he used to see me as a kid, he'd be like, franchise, basically saying I was the franchise of Antioch youth football. But when I got to high school, I said, you can't be calling me these. I'm not going to call you that anymore because you're here. But
right.
As a kid, he used to call me. That was funny.
No, and the Aliotti, he's a legend in Pittsburgh, and I'm trying to think where else to lead this, but that's hilarious. This guy 15, 18 years later still talking about it.
Well, those were, I don't want to say they were glory years, but it was a good time for youth football in the Bay Area.
Right.
You had your other league, like your JFLs, and you had your Pop Warner teams, but like that league put a lot of people in the NFL, like a lot of people. You had people who went to the NFL from Clayton Valley, from Antioch, Deer Valley, East County, West Pitt. Like they put out athletes. Pleasant Hill, Concord. Like a lot of people went to and either played football in college or excelled to the NFL. So that time period was a great time period for youth football. And I don't think it's the same today. That's why, and I don't know, maybe I'm biased because that was my era. but it was just a good time for football.
No, I'm thinking, Terron, maybe when I'm done with the Amigos, there might be a documentary on that era of youth football. I mean,
Yeah, that would be cool, man. I got all the videotapes, man. It's funny when I go back to my mom and dad's house. Sometimes I'll just go in because they're all like on VHS and like DVD, and no one has those anymore. But we have those like in the garage or something, and I'll just disappear for like an hour or two, and they'll come sit. They're like, "Oh yeah, Terron's watching his youth football tapes again," because that's just what I do. It's just a fun time to watch those old tapes.
all right. Well, speaking of the Ward family, you know, your dad is front and center, but I don't think your mom and Tiara get enough credit. You know, they're doing the things behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Tell people about them.
Oh, you just stated it right there. They do all the behind the scenes work. My mom just holds everything down to the core. Tiara, you know, she has her daughter. She's holding her things down. She's doing the real estate, doing well in that. But they just do like for the Ward football camp, the youth football camp, we have the Ward Boy weekend. They do all the stuff for that. Flights or things need to be paid or all the stuff that happens that you don't see, they take care of. So, you know, we're blessed to have them to do all that stuff, and they do it willingly, and they're good at it. So, yeah, that's just what they do.
And also, that's the thing with that. You know, people know you as De La Salle, but you're Antioch. I mean, it's on your arm. I mean, don't you have the Highway 4 on your arm?
Yeah, it's right here. I don't know if you can see it well.
It is a Bay Boy, city of Antioch.
Yeah. And I got that because I really believe, you know, that city has a lot to do with how I came up. You know, especially it's my household and my mom, and my dad, and my brother and sister. But, you know, growing up in that city, it really taught me a lot. And I think it's important to pay homage to things that, you know, taught you how to be you and kind of built you who you are today.
Right. And it's the thing. You could have the camp at De La Salle, but the people might not be able to get over the hill. You know, the people, go ahead. The people you want to help are right there in Antioch.
Yeah. So our World Boy weekend, we always try to take it back to Antioch. Just because, like you said, we try to give it back to the city of Antioch. We do a lot of our community service in Antioch. And we try to just provide that big brother atmosphere to the kids who grow up in that city, because not a lot of them have that. And not a lot of them have the example of this is what it looks like, this is what it should be. They have a lot of this is what it shouldn't be, and this is what it doesn't look like, you know? So to provide that, it's important to my brother and I, and that's why we do it.
Right. And that's right. And your parents, they're still, I mean, they were San Francisco originally, but they're Antioch lifers now.
Yeah. So they're in the same house we lived in our whole life. So they've been in that house for, I'm 28. They've been in that house for almost 25 years, 26 years. So, you know, Antioch through and through. We asked him to move. We asked him to move a few times. My dad's just not having. He's cemented in that house, and I don't blame him.
Wait, he's got his man cave now.
Yeah, his man cave. So he says, man, he's in there all day, every day. He can smoke his cigars in there. That's why he's in there. He can smoke his cigars and watch his TV and be as loud on the phone as he wants to and not be bothered. So, you know, if they like it, I love it. I'm not there every day. So when I come chill with them, it's cool. But like you said, he's in his man cave all day, every day.
No, the other thing is what's happened over the last year. I mean, you're a father. Talk about, see how happy you are. Talk about that.
Yeah, I got a baby girl, Viva Jones. It's kind of, can't explain the love you have for your kid when it's born. She was born 2 days before my birthday. So her birthday is February 13th. Mine is February 15th. I'm sorry. And she acts just like me. It's funny to see her walk around and grow and turn into a little human being. She's actually in Oregon right now with Chloe and their family, visiting them. But she's just running the household. Wherever she is, she runs the household, and she looks at people with this dirty look and kind of judges you with her eyes, and then she'll give you love. It's just funny to see, man. Yeah. She's a beautiful girl. She's growing. She's smart. Just can't wait to see her grow up.
You've had some experience. Tell people about who's Talia.
Talia Ray is my niece. Is Tiara's daughter. I think she's turning 8 this year. think she'll be 8 this year. She's a little woman herself, very mature, growing into a little woman herself. She started playing soccer last year, so she's into sports now. I think she's going to be a fast little girl. She's tall. Her father's really tall. He played football at UCLA, and she's going to have our speed. I think when sports come around, I think she's going to be something to deal with for sure.
Very cool. And then also, I think
she's very artistic too. She's always singing and dancing, and she's actually going to like acting school right now. So she does like these little commercials. She does this Gatorade commercial in front of us all the time now, and it's funny. She does her little sayings, her little skit, and then she drinks her Gatorade and she goes, very refreshing. And it's just to me.
No, she's got to start doing commercials for Tierra Real Estate.
Yeah, that's next.
All right. And then also, I think I picked up something. You did a real good interview for a Real Neal. I think one of your businesses, you're smart. It's not flipping homes. It's the having short-term homes. That's a good idea. Tell people about this.
It's just short-term rentals. You know, I provide housing for, corporate housing for business people who are traveling or people who, have projects for a month, 2 weeks, however, if they don't want to stay in a hotel, I have homes that they can stay in for, long stays, not long stays, short-term stays, I should call it. That's what I thought. A lot of people that when they go and have projects somewhere, like, people who work for Facebook or Google or traveling nurses or somewhere for a month or, 3 months, they don't want to be in a hotel for that long. They want to kind of have that come home to that home atmosphere. And that's what I provide. And it's been working well for me.
No, it's neat. Because I think, as I said, people either a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you just have to clean it and keep it nice. And then the next people come in. It's much less work than flipping a home. You just keep it nice, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just managing pretty much. Yeah. Managing the bookings, managing who's in there, if they need something done. And yeah, like with a flip, you got to go in, you got to assess it. How much money am I going to put into it? Okay, how long is that going to take? Okay, now that it's done, how can we sell it? It's just a lot that goes into flipping homes. It's not bad, but it's just a lot more work that goes into it. As far as short-term rentals, kind of a quicker return on your dollar.
And is that from your mom and dad? How did you become such a good businessman?
I think I'm still learning, man. I wouldn't say I'm a good businessman right now. I think I just have a lot of ideas and I act on them. To tell you the truth, I don't really try to waste the days. If I come up with something or if I think for something, I research it and then I act on it. I wouldn't say I'm a good businessman yet. I think I'm striving to be that and headed towards that. But I don't let ideas go to waste.
Right.
I think that's one of my biggest assets is when I think of something, I see how I can make it work for me. And then I do it. And that's kind of half the battle. Some people, they think of something and they don't act on it. And then next thing you know, someone else is doing exactly what they thought of. You know what I mean? So I don't want that to be me.
Right. And does Jake help you?
Not so much, not on my business endeavors.
Okay.
He does a lot of stuff he knows a lot of stuff about like money and loans and stuff like that, which I always bounce ideas off him. But, most of my business endeavors, I kind of talk to my parents and stuff like that about.
Right. Okay. And I'm trying to think if we go all the way back to De La Salle, that's the thing. I know, like Antoine Custer, the guys on this year team, like Kobe and Shamar. I wish I was there like in 2008, 2009, because your personality would have been almost like it is today. And we would have had a lot of fun. And you had a lot of fun on the field. And particularly, I don't know if you're aware, that Monte Vista game. You know about the trivia gassers that Justin Allenbaugh does? And the question always is, how many yards did Terron Ward have in that game, and who was the defensive coordinator? How many yards did you have in that Monte Vista game?
I have actually, I know the defensive coordinator is coaching or was coaching at De La Salle.
Right. I had you take a photo of him. We'll get to that. Yeah.
I had 398 yards that game. And I had about, give or take, 70 yards called back. And we ended up winning that game. That was a big game, man. I never seen so many fans at an away game, like especially like we going to another place, especially like in the Bay Area. I think it was like I want to say like 5,000 fans there, 6,000. It was a lot. I don't know the number, but it was Monte Vista was like standing room only because they were good at the time too. They had Brett Nottingham, they had Brett Nottingham, they had the receivers, they had McAllister. They had a good team, and we ended up going there and beating them by I think it was 20. I think we beat by a touchdown. I think it was 28-21.
Right, but
Yeah.
so that's it. That the young kids, Spartans, are watching this. That's the trivia. So they have to know 398 yards, and then the defensive coordinator from Monte Vista, Ned Milan, and yeah, exactly. And
I just honestly, one of those games where you're just feeling it. It was just one of those games, and I was feeling it, and I was feeling good, and the lights were on, and the pressure was on because De La Salle hadn't been beat by a team in the Bay Area since 1991, and Monte Vista was talking. Monte Vista is a rivalry to De La Salle, so they were talking a lot of smack, and I think it was on the news that Monte Vista was going to beat us this week. It was like a lot of stuff that went into that. I think we had a pep rally. It was like a lot of stuff, and we came out. We had a good game.
Right. Oh, there's other games. Did you play against Pitt when they had that song? Or was that?
And I was the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah. So that year was my junior year, and they came out with that song.
That's a great song.
I liked it. They came out with that song before NCS when we played them at Dublin High. I think they came out with a week before, and it was on YouTube, and it got around, and it was hilarious. And the word was they had a good team that year too. They had a real good team. And they said they were going to beat us that year. And they came out with that song, and it was on YouTube. And we ended up every day of that week, they played that song on the announcements. And then on that Thursday night dinner, they played it the whole video before our meetings. It was funny. So it was like, this is what they think of you. They're dancing, they're partying, they're making songs. What are you going to do about it? And we beat the shit out of them.
Exactly. No, but what was the jingle? It was a clever jingle. I mean,
it was like what was it? The Pittsburgh Pirates. It was something like that. And I know that because a good friend of mine, Tracy, was on that team, and he was kind of like the main one dancing and talking smack. Someone that goes back into the youth football days who I played growing up. And he was like, "This is the year we beat you," and it didn't.
Yeah. What about what are some memories of Lad and Cobra?
Lad was just someone that always kept his composure in any situation. He was just always that like voice of reason, never had to yell, always listen to the players. Like if this is what the players was feeling, okay, this is what we should do. Gave me a lot of confidence going into my senior year, kind of telling me, this is the year you're going to have to do something. And I kind of took that challenge head on and just knew how to, put the players in a position to win and succeed. And that's a skill that not all coaches have. Trust me, I've been around a lot of coaches, and that's a skill not all coaches have. And then with Cobra, what can you say? You know what I mean? It's just the screaming, the yelling, the all the newspapers, and this week, this is what happened, and, practice, that's not good enough, you're a muffin head, all that. It was just, you expected it. By the time you were a senior, you're like, all right, he's just going to say that, and this is what he's going to mean. But he's also someone that listened to the players. I remember our senior year at State, Crenshaw was going in for like a scoring drive, and they got like to our, I want to say 30-yard line, and we kept running cover 4, and I was like, cover 4 isn't working. Let's run cover 2. He's like, you think so? I was like, I know so. Run cover 2. And we end up stopping them. And there's things like that, you trust your players. What do you think? This is what I think. Okay, let's do it. And those are things that I respect from those guys that not a lot of coaches, they put the trust in the players who are out there doing it. And that's why they've been so successful.
They're legends. I mean, it's incredible what they do on and off the field. And do you have any memories of a younger Justin Allenbaugh? He would have been an assistant.
Yeah, Coach Ball. Yeah, I would say Coach Ball, like he's kind of been running, the system for a long time, kind of behind the scenes. All the summer workouts, the game planning, all the tape reviews. but he was more of like O-line, D-line linebackers when we were there. He had a word in everything, though. Don't get me wrong. He put his 2 cents in everything. Smart guy. Kind of put the players in position to succeed as well, and kind of shows now as a head coach.
Right. And it didn't miss a beat. It's still
Yeah.
going on. And that's it.
Yeah.
You sometimes send me a text or you still show up,
I love to come back, to De La Salle and see those the big games or, any game. Even I came back and watched the basketball game not too long ago just to see how, how the school is doing. And it's funny to see because you go back and you can literally replace yourself with a student and know exactly what's going on because you've been in those shoes already. Because the tradition, it just doesn't change. You know what I mean? It might be some nuances here and there, but all in all, the tradition it was the same before me and it's going to be the same after me. So that's
I posted something from practice with the running backs getting low in their position, low to the ground. And you said, if this wasn't your position or how you lined up, you probably weren't that good.
Yeah, man. It's a terrible football stance, but you learn from the greats before you, and that's their stance was. That's how my stance was. That's probably how Antoine's stance was, and people after him. So it's kind of like that 3-point stand, but you're really just like sitting on your heels type thing. It's a terrible football position, but you look at your role models, and that's what they're doing. So hey, that's what you're gonna do too.
Now you mentioned Antoine. That's also the 28, and that's what you did. I mean, Tell people why were you wearing 28 with the Falcons?
I wore 28 since high school. My junior year. When I got to be a junior, I wanted to somehow show my respect to Terrence and kind of honor him some way because my brother was so close to him. I was there, I was around when he was there, and always a joyful dude. Always kept the room live, and he was such a great player to lose his life right before going to Oregon. It was crazy. So I wanted to do my part and see if I can make the number live on a little bit longer. And that's what I did. As a junior, I asked Landry, and I was like, hey, what do you feel about – and that's at that time, you had to be worthy to wear the number. Anyone just couldn't wear it, right? So I asked – first of all, I asked Coach Ladd. I was like, well, can I wear 28? He's like, well, you have to ask Landry. So I hit Landry. I'm like, hey, Landry, I'm thinking about wearing 28. How do you feel about that? He's like, of course, but make sure you ball out in it. And I tried my best to do that. I think I did an okay job. And when I got to college, I wanted to do the same thing. And then when I got to the NFL, my rookie year, I actually wore 33 because a vet had 28. And I ended up paying him for it. Like, look, man, I need the number. So how much do you need? And that's how much it kind of meant to me to do that, to honor that number. And that's what I did.
Because as a rookie, you had some money, but not how much did you have to pay him? I mean, do you remember?
I ended up paying the guy, I think $7,500.
Yeah.
$7,500. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and as I said, we'll get to that. An undrafted making the team. As I said, you're doing okay, but you don't have like Joe Burrow money or something.
Yeah, exactly. You're not a multi-millionaire the moment you sign. I'll tell you that much.
No, well, that's also how many people to this day think you're a multi-millionaire.
I don't know. I don't ask, but I think the assumption may be high.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the problem. I mean, because you made some money, you made more than most, but I meant that's the misnomer about the NFL. That there's guys that make a lot. There's guys like you that get 3 years of money, and then there's guys that are in camp that make like 5,000, 10. I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
if you don't make the team, if you go to camp undrafted and you don't make the team, you probably make probably $4,500.
Right.
That $5,000, and that's you're doing everything that everyone else does. You just don't make the team.
Right.
You're not getting paid. So yeah, it could have easily went the other way for me. But hard work prevails.
No, and that's also people think he was a running back. I remember watching. You were all over the field for the Falcons. Particularly, I think it was to tell people all the jobs you did there.
Running back, little fullback at the time, special teams, punt return, kick return, kickoff return, returner, off returner, Pretty much, it changes weekly depending on what the team you play, because the NFL is all about matchups, right? So your position would, especially on special teams, your position would change bi-weekly, you know what I mean, or weekly for some instances. It's never the same. So you have to learn a new position on the fly depending on which week it is. And you're getting paid well, but it's not something easy to do, and it's very hard to be in a position that you get comfortable in, and then move to another position that you never played and be a professional by Sunday. You know what I mean? So they expect that from you, but it's not easy.
No, that's how you stay with them for 3 years. And the other thing, just the business of the NFL with Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman. People don't understand that sometimes you're healthy and they don't. You're not activated. People. I mean, it's one thing to make the 53-man roster. Then you got to be, what is it, 40? How many people dress? 46? I mean,
I think it's 46.
Right. I mean, so when those guys are healthy, it's difficult. People don't understand that. I mean,
you definitely got to find your niche, man, and be good at it. Like you said, you're not always guaranteed to be active every game, even though you're healthy. You just kind of find your niche and do that well. And sometimes it comes down to a numbers things. If you have a D lineman hurt, they have to have more D linemen suited. Or if you have a corner who's kind of nicked up, he might go out in the middle of the game, so they got to bring a corner up. So it's always a numbers game too, right? So it's not always just, you're not good enough, you're not active. It's like, okay, we need more linebackers this week, so we got to take a cornerback out, or we need more D linemen this week. We got to take a tight end or a running back. So it's always a numbers game too. So that's, like you said, the business end of it is managing players. Okay, how can we manage this roster so that we can get this W?
Right. Like, look at the Super Bowl. Shady McCoy was not active.
Yeah.
I mean, because they thought they were set at running back and they needed other positions. I'm trying to think just other things. What about that photo that you and TJ? I mean, when Tampa Bay played Atlanta. I mean, it's incredible.
That's a special moment, man. I think I have that photo on my fridge. Yeah, it's on my fridge. It's a special moment, man.
Somebody stealing food from you?
No, man. I had to have my house clean, so they took the pictures off my fridge. So I was looking for it, but I think they put it in the drawer.
Oh, I got you. You were gonna go get that photo.
I was looking for it, but it wasn't there.
Right.
But back to your question, that was a special moment, man. You kind of dream of being in the NFL, as a kid, and then to have your brother there with you, sharing an NFL field at the highest level, it's special. Not too many people can say that. And they capture that photo of, us together, hugging, and then kind of showing our last names on different jerseys. It was a special moment. It was cool. And it's kind of funny when he got picked up by the Bucs, I was like, well, we get 2 times a year for this now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be special. So it was cool.
No, I mean, that's the thing. People, the odds. And also, TJ is 6 years older than you. So
yeah.
TJ had to still be in the league, and he was. Yeah. And then you had to it was further on in your career, but you had to stay with the Falcons undrafted. Yeah, people have no clue. I don't think people are stupid and think it's easy to be in the NFL, but it's next to impossible. I mean, you could write a book about it.
Yeah, I mean, just think about, you got, thousands of, I wouldn't say thousands, you got hundreds of universities that have football programs, right? And then you have 32 teams. So you do the math, right? You have 100 players, at least 100 players on each university's team, college team, and you have 53 on 32 NFL teams. So you're the top 1% of 1% when you make it to the NFL. And, so it's a cool lifestyle to live and, to experience that and to have your family experience that. It's cool, man. The game days are fun. It's a pretty cool lifestyle for sure.
No, that is. We got to talk about other things, but just your mom and dad and Tiara coming, and then once you made the league, they would have to. They could. TJ's over here. I mean, imagine that. Man,
they've been juggling schedules for a long time. Because when I was in high school, TJ was so I would play Friday night.
Yeah.
My dad, mom, they would get in the car. They'll drive to Oregon to see him play Saturday. They come back Sunday. They go to work. So they did that for what? They did that for 4 years. And
right.
Then when they went back to college, TJ was in Cleveland, so they would come to Oregon Friday night, see me play Saturday, and then Saturday night they would fly to Cleveland and watch him play or wherever he was going, or they would split.
Yeah.
And then we got to the NFL. We were both playing on Sundays. Half would go this way, half would go that way, or the whole family be here this weekend, or the whole family be there the next. It was just like they were literally like, okay, we got the schedules. This is what we're doing. Like preseason, this is what we're doing. This game, it was crazy. It was really. Or we have aunties go see him one weekend. My parents see me, and vice versa. It was crazy, man.
It was like a spreadsheet. No, I'm thinking. I don't know how there would almost be a spread with your dad's schedule and TJ's schedule. I don't know when down the road, to get all the wards together. I mean, you would have to coordinate it. I mean,
man, those two, man.
They're tough to pin down.
I don't know. They. Yeah, you can say that. You can say
okay.
That.
All right. No, we'll put it on the back burner, and then I'm thinking this could almost be a two-parter. I mean, I could see that's the thing about when I met you. I knew you were a good guy, and it's just for me. I'm much older than you. I just look up to what you've accomplished, because I know how difficult it is.
Oh, I appreciate that, Brian.
Yeah. No, and so I'm trying to think how we can maybe do something. Right now, like I'm doing the stuff with the Amigos. Who are the teammates? Obviously, the guys you ran track with. Who are some other guys on that team that you're close with?
I'm close with everyone from my class, man. Tyler Anderson, Mac Hess, Kerry Blakeney, Alex Taylor. The list goes on. All my linemen, Zach Griffiths. It's a bunch of guys, man. Dylan Wynn, who's still playing in Canada. Blake Reno was a great player. Antoine at safety. I'm trying to think, man. Man, you can always pick Chase on the track team, Chase Wheeler. He broke records on the track. If track was a bigger sport, he'd be a much bigger name in De La Salle history. And that dude was incredible, too. He won state and long jump the same year. We got third. And the 4x1. So yeah, it's a few guys we can get in touch with for sure.
All right, yeah, no, we'll figure this all out. We can do more, and that's also neat, because before I'd have to lug my camera around. The only good thing about the pandemic is the Zoom. It's too easy. I mean, it's incredible. Did you know about Zoom before this?
I mean, I knew about it for like business and meeting stuff like that, but it's definitely I should have bought some stock before the pandemic opened. I would have probably made some money on it for sure.
It's right there in San Jose, Almondale Avenue. I mean, yeah. How did we not know about this, man?
It's right under your nose, man. You don't know. That's usually stuff you don't know about.
Yeah. Okay. No, I'm trying to think. Well, as we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to add?
Go shop Just2Nice for sure. I can put that in the forefront of your brain as much as possible. And kind of just talking about everything that's going on, the injustice right now as well. I'm glad to see people protesting and, bringing a voice to something that people who look like me have gone through for years and years and years and years. And, police brutality and everything that goes with it. I'm glad people are coming together and, putting the words together and their efforts together to make a change.
And maybe that's it. Next time we can be more serious, because that's probably where we can be most helpful. I mean, how the world is changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's moving in the right direction, but like I said, we have to continue to put the efforts together, and not just Black folks, but everyone from every ethnicity to come together and fight for what's right. At the end of the day, like you said, people aren't born racist. That's something you're taught, and bigotry is not something you're not born with. That's something you're taught. So if you're taught those things, people need to be taught the opposite and being taught what's right. And that goes for anyone. That's just not just, white folks and not just Black folks, not just Mexican, Chinese. It's everyone as a collective. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, and I'll stay in touch with you. I'll figure out a time we can do more. And actually, I'm actually going to be talking with Ken Egu tomorrow.
Oh, for sure.
Give me something to ask him. What could I ask Ken Egu?
Why do you have to block that punt and tear his Achilles? You probably would have won state in 4x1 if you didn't get hurt.
What game? That was in the playoffs or?
NCS against Pitt our senior year. He went to block a punt and ended up just tearing his Achilles. I said
Right.
ACL. I meant Achilles.
No, because that's what he said. I think you mentioned it. Pickett, well, like when they came in down south for the game, was holding the Eagles jersey like he passed away or something like that.
Yeah, you know, Pickett, man, he's an emotional dude. He was just trying to put on for his brother, so I understand it. He couldn't be there with us, so I guess, you know, he had to have his jersey out there.
You're right, exactly. No, so I'll do that. No, here, let me stop the stream here, and I'll just talk to you for a brief moment afterwards. But
go follow at J2Nclothing.com for sure.
There, no, that's it. So what's the? Let's say it again.
At J2Nclothing.com.
There it is.
Not .com. It's at J2Nclothing. Our website is J2Nclothing.com.
That's it. That's it. Okay, man. No, hold on a second.
You have to come up with the little blinkies up.
That's what I need. I need graphics. Yeah, that's it. I'll work on that. Okay, exactly.
Get your edit game up.
Thank you. Hold on a second.